What's up, my wizards? It's Dev from Strictly Better Down There. Normally we have decks. Today we have spoilers, like 5 of them as a matter of fact. I've been letting these pile up because I had a feeling that Wizards might give us a couple here before the weekend to discuss, and they haven't disappointed. There's definitely a couple of cards that need to be discussed. So let's go ahead and hit it. The first 2 cards I'm going to talk about are the most recent cards that were both spoiled this morning, and they both need translations, so I'll give those to you. First of all, what appears to be the launch promo, it says launch promo right there above the artist's name, is this card, Supplanter of Identity. It costs 2 and 2 blue mana to cast. It's a 0/3 shapeshifter, and it has whenever it attacks, you may exile another target non-token creature. If you do, Supplanter becomes a copy of that creature until end of turn. Then, you return the exiled creature to the battlefield under its control at the beginning of the next end step. No idea why I skipped the word owners there. Under its owner's control, obviously. Carry on. I want to go ahead and get this out of the way. Some people on different forums are calling this Supplanter Twin. It's not. It's not Splinter Twin. Stop it. Like, it's not even close to Splinter Twin. You gotta stop. Second of all, I am going to go ahead and say it's probably bad. I just don't want to be fooled by another clone. You know, Clever Impersonator came out and I was like, that's probably really, really good. And like, nobody ever played it. This probably has some kind of cool combo with it, and I'll go over some of the cool things about it. First of all, it doesn't say exile a creature you control when it attacks. You can exile any creature, including their best creature, their best blocker, and attack as it. That's pretty awesome. Now, you won't get any of the battlefield triggers off of your clone, but then when their guy comes back in, they'll get ETB triggers. Obviously, if you exile something that has an enter the battlefield trigger on your side of the board, you'll get that trigger when it comes back in. People are saying this might be good alongside Eldrazi Displacer for a little bit more consistency in the blinking things department. I don't even know about that, man. 4 mana is an awful lot. I don't like 2 blue in a format that doesn't really play much blue to begin with. There's a lot of things that I have problems with about the card. And again, the number one thing is I just don't want to be fooled by yet another clone. Stupid blue-green one in Shadows over Innistrad is bad. And this one, although it looks like it might be the best of all 3 of those, because it can hit opponents' creatures, exiling them for a turn, you know, just being able to swing in with their best creatures seems really good. Being able to abuse enter the battlefield triggers seems really good too, and there's probably some kind of gonzo combo with this. I mean, we have a lot of good ETB triggers in Standard. I just don't know if any of them are good enough to support a 4 mana guy that won't get to attack until the next turn anyway. We also got another card today that requires a translation. It appears to be the Buy a Box promo. This is Thalia right here, specifically Thalia Cathar Heretic, but with translations and stuff, it often doesn't end up being the same translation. Although Cathar Heretic sounds like a pretty good name for a card right now. I don't know. Could be. But anyway, this is what she does right here. She's, you know, a 2 and a white. She's a legendary human soldier. She's 3/2, and she has first strike. She also has, this is the important line, creatures and non-basic lands your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. Lots of cool implications with this, but I'm not actually sure how great it is in Standard. Now, I do think that the white-based decks could use a really, really good 3-drop, and this is one of them, you know, and people are saying this works alongside Vryn's Wingmare. You know, you play this and Wingmare as your 3-drops, and then you play Archangel of Ties as your 4-drop. You kind of play Death and Taxes in Standard. We'll see how good that deck is. I'm sure I'll build it up, but I don't like that Wingmare and this both cost 3 mana. I would have taken, just like the original Thalia, you know, I'd taken a 2/1 first strike for 2 mana that did this. That would have been amazing, but I just don't know if they, hey Igby, I don't know if they wanted to put this on a 2 mana thing. That would seem pretty ridiculous. Like, I'm sorry, I gotta pay attention to Igby now. But in any case, I do think that the card has some implications. Don't get me wrong, I do think the card is, first of all, it's a human, that's the thing. It's, you know, the color of the most important aggro deck that is also a human's deck. So set off Thalia's Lieutenant. I mean, there's lots of cool things about the card, and it probably will see some Standard play. I actually think that the card may have more relevance in Eternal formats. You know, I think this is not bad, actually. It doesn't look terrible to me in Modern at all. And yeah, it can die to a lot of cheap removal in Modern. Totally get that. But I still think that it may have a shot. And people are talking about this in Legacy. I don't know, man. That's hard to say. Very hard to say. But you could build a commander deck around this if you wanted to. I mean, it's cool, small legend, I guess. I mean, I'm just trying to cover all the bases here, but my main takeaway here is that I think it has some legs in Modern, although I'm not sure it's fast enough, and it is a little brittle. 2 toughness is very, very small. So is it there in Modern? You guys let me know how you feel in the comments. As far as Standard goes, I want it to be really, really good, and I love that piece of text on her. I love that she's a 3-power first strike. But is 3 mana just like a little bit too much to pay for this? Let me know how you feel. The last 3 cards I'm going to talk about have already been out for a couple of days, and a lot of YouTubers have done videos already, especially about the last 2 cards. But I want to give you my take on them. You know, I feel the same way a lot of people do. But what I want to stop off at here in the middle is something I haven't seen too many YouTubers talk about, and that's this right here. Hanweir, the Writhing Township. Now, this is a legendary Eldrazi ooze. It's a 7/4 trample haste, and whenever it attacks, you put 2 3/2 colorless Eldrazi horror creature tokens onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. Now, the first thing I want to point out while I've still got the card up here is note the transform symbol is not the sun and moon symbol. It is Emrakul, and we don't know what the other half of this card is, and there's an awful lot of speculation right now. First things first, a lot of people want to say this is a land, and it could be a land, but if it is, the collector number's all wrong. I don't know if you can see this. I don't know if the card's going to be good enough resolution for you to see the collector number, but it's 130. That is smack dab, like almost right in the middle of the set. So we don't know what it is, but signs point to it being a red or a green card. In the last small set, I believe that number 130 was a green card, if I'm not mistaken. But, you know, for whatever reason, I feel like it's a red card. Hanweir has only ever been white and red, you know. So I think that it could be a creature. A lot of people want it to be a creature, specifically a wall, because Hanweir is known for having a huge wall, apparently. That's what I keep hearing, at least. Now, some people are saying that there's no way it can be a creature because its front-facing power and toughness don't show on the back face of the card. People are under the false assumption that that happens. That does not happen. That you don't. Not on every transform card will you see the power toughness of the front-facing card. I think that's only on flip cards, but I may be wrong on that. All I'm saying is that just because you don't see the front face's power and toughness on the back face of the card, that does not mean it's not a creature. And a lot of people say it's not a creature because it has haste. Why would it need haste if it was a creature? That is a very compelling argument, and that's the one that stops me as much from thinking it's a creature, to be honest. But maybe the condition is such that you could flip it on the turn it comes out. That's a possibility. I can see that. And I really want it to be a wall. Of all the things it could be, I want it to be a wall the most. A creature, you know, with Defender, and when something happens, you flip it, you know. Although as far as that flip, as far as how you get it to transform, that's another thing a lot of people are talking about. How it must be a very steep condition because we're putting 13 haste power out onto the battlefield. So the condition has to be super steep. And some people are saying, you know, maybe Emrakul, just play Emrakul and then this happens. I don't think they would do that. I just really don't think. They would make a whole transform condition with its whole like a whole different transform symbol for one card. You know, if you play this one card, then like 7 or 8 cards in the set have more relevance. I just don't see that. I don't see it happening. I hope it's not that way. I think it may use either the Exile Zone or the Graveyard to transform. I'm thinking Exile Zone, to be honest with you. I think you have to get it into Exile first and then do a thing to transform it and put it on the battlefield. That's what I would put my money on. But back to card type, I want it to be a creature again, but I would put money on this either being, say, a sorcery or an enchantment. I think an enchantment that transforms would be neat. That'd be cool. And we've already seen a sorcery that transforms, Startled Awake, then Persistent Nightmare. So it could be any of those things. You know, maybe a sorcery, you play it, and there's a way to exile it from your graveyard, and then later there's a way to put it into play as this. So there's just so much speculation. A lot of people, you know, Wizards likes a good mystery lately to give the players. And this is definitely one that's got everybody talking. Nobody knows what the heck is going on with the card, and we can't wait to see the front face. And I say it's a super steep condition, and it has to be, but like imagine if you had seen Ormondal before you saw Westvale Abbey. You'd be like, geez, what do I have to do to flip this thing? It's not really that hard to flip. So it could be the same way with this guy. We have no idea. Maybe it's sacrificed a bunch of lands. Maybe it's sacrificed a bunch of different things like Westvale is. Who knows? It may. I'd put money on it using the Exile Zone of the Graveyard, though. But as far as I can tell, this card is probably going to be really good. Oh, and one more thing. Yes, more Eldrazi. You know, a lot of people have already said there's going to be more Eldrazi because Emrakul is collector number 6. that means there have to be 5 more colorless, non-artifact, non-land things before him. So there's guaranteed to be more colorless Eldrazi in the set. Some people like that, some people hate that. It looks like right now, from what I can tell, like 60% of people don't like that. 40% of people are like, yay, Eldrazi. Just put it this way, people that don't like Eldrazi at this point in Standard, or in Magic period, we're probably done with them for like ever. Like at this point, though, in the storyline, they'll kill Imrikul. They've already killed Nog, and they've killed Kaz. So we're probably done forever with Eldrazi at this point. So just keep that in mind. But honestly, what about the card itself? Well, we can't really evaluate it until we see the other half. But obviously, 13 haste power is really good. Some of it tramples. I mean, 3 creatures. The card is probably going to see play no matter how you have to flip it, unless the flip condition is just absolutely atrociously, impossibly hard. But I don't see that happening. We'll have to see how this works out. And the last thing I'll say about the card is that my favorite nickname for it is Imrikul's Moving Castle. So Miyazaki jokes always welcome. Well, that was a lot of disparate things about that card all at once, because there's really a lot to talk about. I didn't order it very well, but I hope you got all of it. The card is a huge mystery, and nobody knows what the hell is going on with it. So let's move on to 2 cards that people have had some time to look at. And so I won't spend too much time on these. I'll just kind of tell you how I feel. First is Ullrich of the Krallenhorde. Totally called it would be Ullrich. I think that was a pretty easy call to make, honestly. I actually don't think this is awful. Now, I do think 5 mana for 4/4 is bad. That's fairly bad. But I do like the fact that it's sort of removal, Some of the time, this is going to kill one of their creatures on their turn as well. So that's pretty cool. You don't play any spells, it transforms during their upkeep, it kills one of their guys. That can be cool. I just love that this is creature removal in these colors. I just think I would have gone, and I've already told you guys this, I would have gone the opposite direction with the Legendary Werewolf. You keep him cheap, the deck really needs an amazing 2-mana wolf. The deck needs that very badly so it can have some form of initiative. It can be a proactive deck, set up more easily. It's got plenty of 3-mana plays. It doesn't have that many 4-mana plays, so what the hell are we doing playing a 5-mana guy? And the other complaint is that it's finally to get a Legendary Werewolf. It's a Wolf Lord, and it doesn't actually do anything for other werewolves. That's an issue. And yeah, when I said what are we doing on turn 4, we're playing Arlinn Kord. That's what everybody wants to do, obviously. But Arlinn Kord is just like the only 4-drop, and if you don't play her, what happens if you do play her? That seems fine, You can always make a wolf with her, and then next turn he can buff the wolf to a 6/6, you swing in, Oh, that seems good, and you can buff the wolf with Arlinn, at that point at least. So I think that curving from Arlinn into this does sound powerful, but how powerful really? Like, you're still doing so much setup on turns 4 and 5 when so many decks are just starting to run you over by that point. So I just don't know how relevant it is. It's not fast. And I'll say it one more time, I would have gone the opposite direction with this and made it 2 mana to cast and just underpowered it a little bit from what we see here. Because, the deck, again, I have to say it one more time. I know I've said it a million times. This deck, the Red-Green Wolves deck, absolutely needs a premium 2-drop, and it just doesn't have it. And don't say Scourge Wolf to me. Don't you say it. It's not good enough. And the last card I'll talk about is Coach from the Blind Eternities here. A lot of people have had a lot to say about this card, and we still don't know if it's good or not. I think it's a nice little, it's got some parity with Call to Gaywatch. That's cool, It's sort of the Eldrazi version of that. Although I think the most important thing on here is that it can pull things out of exile. That's awesome. Although in Standard, this can make for toolbox sideboards. I'll go get my Thought Knots here, my Reality Smasher out of the sideboard. That seems like it could be very, very good. But we have to go very late in the game for that to be super relevant at all, If you want to get your Reality Smasher in play, that's 8 mana. So I just don't know. We'll have to see. Although I do think a lot of people are writing this off in Modern, but this has sideboard potential in Modern. It can go get things out of the sideboard for you that aren't even Eldrazi creatures. So I think that that's not bad at all in any way. But is 3 mana too much? Does it not do enough? We'll have to see if this makes its way into toolbox decks in Standard and pulls interesting, Eldrazi out of the sideboard. I just don't know if it's quite there, although I do think that it's on the cusp. A lot of people are just writing the card off completely and saying it's garbage, but I'm not sure about that, honestly. I think that people will at least try and play this, see what happens. It's been out for 4 days and I haven't tried to put it in anything. I'm working on some things in the current Standard. But I'm seeing how this could be good. I'm ambivalent, if you can't tell. I'm on the fence. I think that this card could be something, but if I had to put my life on it, I'd say there's only about a 40% chance of this card being truly good. I reserve the right to be wrong on that, but at the same time, again, I think that people are, I know I'm all over the place, sorry about that, but I think that people are discounting the pull a guy out of exile. I think there's a lot of cool tricks with that in Standard. It combats a lot of things, you know, Infinite Obliteration is a card, Transgress the Mind is a card, Void Shatter is a card, I'm missing a couple of things at exile, Declaration in Stone is an important one, Anguished Unmaking. I mean, these are all important cards that see a lot of Standard play and exile stuff, so, you know, if Stasis Snare is another one. Silk Wrap even, I guess, but that won't work on mini Eldrazi. I guess Eldrazi Displacer, but that's probably a moot point. I'm just grasping at straws, but I just named like, what, 8 cards that exile things and see a lot of Standard play, so something like this could be a decent sideboard piece. That is all the spoilers for today, and I promise you a deck tech very, very soon. It's been like 5 days since I did a deck tech. Gotta do Solar Flare coming up here in the next day or two, so look out for that. And also, pretty awesome announcement here. A lot of people say in the comments like, you know, you really should fix your camera. I get that all the time, you know. Fix your camera, fix your audio quality. That's happening. I have recorded every video, almost 300 videos now, on an iPhone 4. Not even a 4S. I've been using an iPhone 4, which by the way, kids, means that if you want to start a YouTube channel and you don't have any money, you can start a YouTube channel as long as you have a smartphone. That's all you gotta have, honestly. Smartphone, I use free editing software, you know, so it doesn't cost any money to start a channel. But in any case, I am upgrading here. We're getting a brand new camera, records in 1080p, 60 frames a second. Right now I'm only at 30 frames a second. We've got stereo sound on the camera as opposed to just a tinny, you know, iPhone speaker. So in the next few days here, I promise you the quality of the videos will hopefully take a drastic uptick, and I guess I should actually say thank you. I was going to say you're welcome. Thank you. Anyway, that's all for now. I'm Dev from SBMTG. If you enjoyed the content, do the YouTube stuff, like and share, blah, blah, blah. Comment. I really want to know how you feel about these cards, because some of them are hard calls. And then sub if you're new. And I'll see you guys later. I'm Dev from SBMTG. Thanks for watching, my wizards.